We're brought to you by Chase. I'm Ryan Smith in for Mike Greenberg. Happy New Year to you, and let's get up with college football. Clemson and Alabama, are they going to win big today? Why? The answer to that question is not as easy as you might think. And all Baker and the Browns need to do to make the playoffs, beat the Steelers without Big Ben. We'll tell you why that challenge has become much more difficult in the last 24 hours. And why 2021 is off to a terrible start for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Get up starts right now. And folks, let's jump right off with Notre Dame and Alabama. This is the moment we've been waiting for, the college football playoff, and they get things started at 4 Eastern in the first Rose Bowl outside of Pasadena since 1942. Can Notre Dame slow down the Bama offense? The Tide is averaging nearly 50 points per game, and that is a school record. And then at 8 Eastern, it's Ohio State and Clemson in the All-State Sugar Bowl. The Buckeyes have never beaten Clemson, going 0-4 all time, though 3 of the 4 games were decided by 6 points or fewer. That's key, and FPI sees this one as tight, too, giving each team a 50% chance to win. That despite Ohio State being 7.5-point dogs, the most they've gotten since 2015 Sugar Bowl against Alabama. So let's bring in our guys, Tim Tebow, David Pollack, talk a little bit about these games. Tim, Justin Fields, I got to think, has maybe more pressure on him than any other player on either team tonight. So what do you make of his struggles lately?
Well, I think he's also got a really big chip on his shoulder as well going into this game. And I think he's going to come out extremely motivated. I think he's going to play with a lot of desire and heart. And I think it's also important to mention that maybe he has one of the top ceilings we've seen in a while in college football. He has a lot of talent. He has had some great games. I think the last 2 he's been pressing a little bit. He's been trying to make a statement, especially in the conference championship game. But you could also see he wasn't on the same page with a lot of his receivers. And so I think some of those things will be cleaned up in this game. And I think you will see a much improved Justin Fields. And you really need to, because for Ohio State to have a chance, he has to play a lot better.
Absolutely does. And by the way, speaking of ceilings, David, on the other side, Trevor Lawrence doesn't seem to have one. Somehow he seems to keep getting better and better. What most stands out to you about him on tape?
He has gotten better. He has improved. He came out the game. By the way, he hasn't lost but 1 game as a starter. So better and better is relative. He's been pretty daggum solid his whole life. He's just been more efficient, I think. When you look at the playmakers around him, it's not as dynamic as it used to be, but his legs have gotten better, has improved. And you think about last year's, semifinal, that was the difference. It was his running ability that opened everything up, and second half it had more success. So when you look at the efficiency of Trevor Lawrence, it's just, listen, he reads your mail, bro. Like, look, I see those guys creeping. They're lying. Nope, not true. Point. He knows exactly who's coming. Offensive line, y'all don't look at 0. Don't look at 6. I already read the mail. I know exactly where it's coming from. Just look outside right here. He's coming. Yep. All right, this is easy. Pitch and catch. And this is where I think I'd love to see more from him. Throwing it over the middle, over a linebacker in between a safety on 3rd and 12. 3rd and 6 again, going to the line of scrimmage, dummy snap count. What's coming? Oh, yep, we see the twist. Sets up the line perfect. 3rd and 6, understand down and distance. Understand, you know what? This is really easy. Man coverage, I'm taking off. I got a first down. He can fall forward as big as he is at 6'6" and get 5 yards. So I think he came out the gates great. You saw the physical tools, but mentally evolving, his legs being a part of the game plan, he's just continued to grow. Okay, so Tim, Ohio State's the dog tonight. They're the underdog. So finish this sentence. I was doing this in the last block too. Let me say it this way. Ohio State wins if?
I think if Justin Fields is the MVP, and I think he also has to have help. I think you have to have a Chris Olave, someone like that step up. Chris has had over 100 yards in 4 out of the 5 games he's played in, with also a touchdown. I think that's incredible. He needs that help. He needs a downfield weapon. I think Clemson is going to press. They're going to play tight coverage. It's going to be a lot of man-to-man coverage, and so he's going to need help. I think not just in the running game, but in the passing game. And I think Chris Olave has to be that guy. They got him back for this game. He's got to make some big plays down the field. So I definitely think Justin Fields has the ball, but he also needs help down the field against Venables' tight coverage.
Okay, David, jump in. Ohio State wins if?
Their defense plays better than they've played all year. Too many busts, too many miscommunications in the back end. It's not been great. Listen, they lost a lot of guys too. I mean, don't get it twisted with Chase Young and Okudah, and we can go down the list of guys they lost. But They've got to do a better job of keeping the ball in front of them, not giving up those explosive plays, and they better be ready for Trevor Lawrence's feet because it will be a part of the game plan.
Okay, that's going to be huge. Now, Tim, can I ask you about the other game, Bama, Notre Dame? Now, you know what it's like to play and beat Nick Saban, a Nick Saban defense. What advice would you provide to Ian Book?
Listen, this isn't the same Nick Saban defense he's had in years past. This is a little bit different. They're still very talented, but you don't look at this defense and you don't say, wow, this defense is incredibly intimidating up front, or wow, how are we going to run the ball against these linebackers? They're not the same defense. What you do want to do is you want to keep the ball away from this team because their offense is the most efficient offense in the history of keeping the metric. That's ridiculous. And so I think Ian Book, this offensive line in this running game, I think their best defense is their offense. It is to be able to control the football. It is to be able to use this physical offensive line and try to be able to take time of possession. And when you're in the red zone, you have to score TDs. You have to be able to match Alabama touchdown for touchdown. It can't be, oh, we get down there and we're settling for field goals.
Okay, now I've been trying to give Notre Dame fans hope because they're nearly 3 touchdown underdogs. So, David, finish my sentence. Notre Dame wins if?
Ian Book balls out. He's got to be the Ian Book that played against Clemson. He's got to run it. He's got to throw it. He's got to make miraculous plays. Yeah, they're not Alabama's defenses from the past, but this also isn't an extremely explosive offense. So Ian Book is going to have to let it rip. He's going to have to throw the ball down the field to his big receivers and McKinley and Scarborough, Skarnecki. He's going to have to do that. He's going to have to throw it up, let those guys make plays, but he's going to have to play a game like he played against Clemson where he's rushing